I got started doing video production at a pretty early age, not as young as some people. My family wasn't involved in Hollywood or any kind of creative aspect. My dad is a computer programmer and my mom is an accountant. So I don't really have a very strong creative background from my family, but I've always been interested in technical, mechanical gadgets and gizmos and, taking things apart. But I've also had a love for the creative side of things, like music and sketching and, cartoons. And I was the kid growing up and I shot home movies with my Legos and my action figures, just doing terrible voiceover while my hands moved them around. And I even shot terrible music videos as a kid with my brothers, and we were like 6 or 7. But I really got my start doing, more professional, I guess you could say, work when I was around 12 or 13. I had the opportunity to volunteer at a church. They were starting up their video services where there are people in the back of the room who can't see, so they did IMAG projection, and they were looking for volunteers, and it was pretty much just anyone who was willing to help out, and I thought it would be cool. So I did it, and that was something I did, totally volunteer for free for quite a few years, probably 3 or 4 years, doing that almost every weekend. And the church at the time ended up going mobile, which if you're not familiar with that means is essentially that because the church was building a brand new building, they were meeting at a high school theater room every week. And so we had to load in and load out all the camera equipment each and every week, tape down all the cables, set all the cameras up every single weekend. And it was grueling. And we did that for about 2 years. But after that, because of that time that I invested there, the church ended up offering me kind of a part-time job. And in that process, I got into editing. So I started off doing the live stuff, which is fun. I actually really, there's a place in my heart for live, concert performance type stuff. But in that process, I also got involved in the kind of production aspects of filmmaking and video, where we, write scripts and shoot short little movies or music videos or whatever, and then edit them together. And I kind of fell in love with that as well. So the church offered me a part-time job, and it didn't pay a whole lot, but it was something that I enjoyed doing, so I kept doing it. And it was around that time that I was getting ready to go off to college. And that's a pretty big moment in everyone's life when they're deciding what they're going to do after high school. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. It was, people had told me, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, you should be an actor, you should, whatever they say. And for some reason, the video stuff had just stuck with me as being something I genuinely enjoyed. At that point, I'd been doing it for close to like 6 years, and I hadn't gotten tired of it. So I figured I wanted to keep doing it. So I ended up going to Arizona State University, enrolling in their film program there, and that was a nightmare in itself. I'm sorry if this video goes long, but there's a lot of key components to this story. I enrolled in the film program, and the way the film program worked at the time, I don't know if it's still this way, but at Arizona State University, you had to apply to actually get into the real film program. You did like a pre-film program, and then you applied and you had to be admitted into the actual film program. So my freshman year, I did the pre-film. I applied, had this whole interview set up, and my alarm didn't go off. And I missed the interview. And because I missed the interview, I didn't get in the film program that next semester. Then the following semester, did the same thing. I applied, had the interview set up. I made sure my alarm was set. I made sure like 3 alarms were set. Went to the interview, got accepted into the film program. I was really excited about that. Went to schedule my classes, and every class was full. And there was no way I could take any actual film classes. So I spent a whole year of college doing absolutely nothing. And film related anyway. I took some philosophy classes, and it was actually a good experience because I got to kind of expand my horizons and do some more experimental education, I guess you could say. But it was kind of unfortunate because what happened was my freshman year, I was with a certain class, and they all went on to the actual film program, and that put me behind by a full year. And so my junior and senior year, I had to play catch up. And in that process, I was with this new set of kids, but then catching back up to the original set of kids. So I never really had a core group of, friends in school that we all worked on films together. I kind of felt like I was all on my own. And there were people who, would help me out, and, I had some relationships, but it wasn't a bond with my classmates just because of the timing and the way my scheduling worked out. But anyway, I graduated from film school, and during that whole time, I was working, doing freelance work here and there, still doing some work for the church. And there was a job that I did senior year that, because of someone I knew through the church, he was another video professional, and he asked me to help out on a shoot. And he said, I can't really pay you anything. I could give you maybe like $50 for the day of work just for gas and for food. And so I said I'd do it. It was a good opportunity. The shoot wasn't anything special. It was just figured I'd help him out. And because I did that shoot and made a good impression, did good work, it led to another shoot with him and another shoot. And then I started doing some editing. And it was a really good relationship that I was able to build because of this first job that I did essentially for nothing. And after I graduated from film school, he offered me a job at the company that he was working for doing video production full time. So I took it. And I worked there for a year and a half. And then after that, the church offered me a full-time position as the video director. So I went back over there and did that for another year and a half or so. And then after that, someone who I had met at the previous job, she was leaving her job that she went to after that and recommended me to be the director of video production over there. And so I ended up taking that, and that's where I'm at currently. Now, I tell this story only to say everyone has their own journey, and I made a video promoting the idea that you should work for free. And there's a lot of people who disagree with that. They think it undervalues people, it undercuts the industry overall, and it doesn't lead to anything good. But from my own personal experience, and I know other people who have had similar stories, is that it's all based on who you know, and everyone says that. But what's so important, it's not about who you know necessarily at your level, right? Like when I was in college, everyone said, make connections with your classmates because it's all about who you know, and they're going to get you jobs one day. And that's true. But when everyone graduates from film school, you're all competing for the same jobs. And it's very rare that in that time frame, any one of your classmates is going to immediately recommend you for a job position. So you need to be establishing your network outside of school with people who are older, who are more established in the industry. Find somebody who can be that kind of mentor and who can guide and bring you along, and you can kind of ride their coattails a little bit to a certain extent. But usually that takes, working for free or very cheap. And if that's your if that's going to help build those relationships, do it. It worked for me. And if I hadn't done that first job where it was like, hey, $50 for a full day, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'd be somewhere totally else. And maybe I'd be someplace better. Who knows? But I'm pretty happy with the way my life has gone so far. And I'm excited to see where it's still going. I got plenty of career ahead of me. But I wanted to put this video together to just kind of give one additional perspective into how people get started. I know a lot of people move out to LA after film school, or they go to film school in LA and New York, and they make connections that way. Everyone's got their own pathway. The only thing I can recommend to anyone else who's wondering how they're going to ever make it is just say yes. Take opportunities. If someone reaches out to you, seriously consider them, whatever it is, whether it's an edit, a shoot, a project that you might not even feel like you have the skill or ability to do. Take it, and in taking it, go read up on it, learn about it, so you can figure out how to take headshots. That was something I did. I started doing video. I did video for so long that once DSLRs came around with HD video, I now had this camera that could also take high quality photos. I never had that before. And so there were opportunities where I had this camera that could take great photos, And these photo jobs, were coming around. People asking me like, "Hey, do you do photography work?" And I was like, "No, no, I only really do video." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I just everyone I talk to about doing photos is just so expensive." And I was like, "Well, I'm not really a photo guy, but I'll do it for cheap, just for free, whatever, just to help you out because I need the practice too. The photos might not be good, but I'll help you out." And by doing that, I was able to build my photography portfolio as well and build up to the point where I was able to start charging for my photography work and then charging more and more and more because I was expanding my gear, I was expanding my skill and my talent and my ability to direct and all those things. And you know what? As I grew my photography side of things, it helped the video side of things. Everything complements one another, and the more you can learn and the more you can do, the more flexible you can be. That's going to help every aspect of your skill set. So really, just say yes to those opportunities when they come along, because you never know how something is going to play out in the long term. Everything is about planting those seeds to one day grow. And there's a lot of seeds that'll be planted that don't grow into anything. You'll do jobs that it's a one-time thing, either that doesn't go well, it's not a good fit, or they're just not interested in doing more work with you. It's fine, but at least you took that opportunity to say yes, to make it happen. Because if you don't, and you just wait around for people to hand you things, they're not going to. You've got to get out there and work. So just say yes to those things, because down the road it will pay off. The more seeds you plant, the more opportunities you take, the more chance there is of it paying off down the road into something really successful.